This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On Air.
What makes a good exhibition? Exhibitions with Craig Scott. We are here to tell you all about it. Welcome to the OI podcast, the Otago Institute podcast, in-depth conversations with experts from the worlds of arts, sciences and Mataranga Māori. Brought to you by the Otago Institute, the Otago branch of the Royal Society for Arts and Sciences. Kia ora, I'm Dr. Barb.
And I'm Trudy.
And welcome, Craig.
Kia ora.
Craig's got a very famous name, I must say.
Craig Scott, has he?
Craig Scott, the singer.
Is there a singer? Oh, sorry, I'm totally not in the know about music. Is there a singer called Craig Scott?
Yeah.
Tell us all about it.
They had a number one single even back in the day.
Oh,
Smiling.
really? Back in what day?
70s?
70s, so last century.
Yeah. My friends got me their greatest hits for a present once. Just
Wow. Oh, that's
haven't listened to it that much.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous.
It's from Dunedin too.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, it's a Dunedin band.
Singer.
Singer. Well, I'm assuming he's got some backup people. Honestly, I know nothing about music. If it's not AC/DC or ABBA, I'm just out on a limb somewhere. Hey, it is wonderful to have you in the studio today and to chat about, a range of things. So we've kind of tried to compile it down because I know that people on the internet love lists. So we've gone through, we're going to chat about exhibitions, old, new, all the ones, future. And we've kind of distilled it down into first, best, biggest, smallest, most difficult logistically, cheapest.
How do you choose?
Oh yeah, I gave Craig free rein there.
No, how do you choose what to exhibit?
Oh yeah. Oh no, I didn't talk about that. You'll have to add that in. So I've just gone with this list: cheapest, most expensive, the one you enjoyed the most, and the one that got away, and then a little bit about future ones. But I'm sure we've got lots of space to enlarge on all of those things.
Is that an exhibition pun? Is it about space?
Oh, God, maybe. Honestly, I don't know. I'm just all over the place today. Hey, I thought that we would start, though. So I've just that's just a heads up, guys. This is what we're going to be talking about. But I thought we would just do first a little bit about Craig Scott. We are not interviewing the famous singer from the 70s.
Famous exhibitionist.
No, not an exhibitionist either. A builder of famous exhibitions. So we've got Craig Scott, head of exhibitions and design at Tūhura Otago Museum. Spent the last decade plus dreaming up and delivering everything from award-winning design shows to international art collaborations. Highlights along the way include installing Te Ao Māori, 2011, at the Shanghai Museum, working with Martin Phillips on Things Change, 2018, another musical reference there. And more recently, co-creating XYZZY. Oh, Zizzy. Are you supposed to actually pronounce the word there? Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Okay, 2023 with Jess Johnson and Simon Ward. A digital art project that toured internationally and picked up film festival awards along the way. Wow. And then, of course, outside the museum, a whole other life. Craig wears different hats. Chair of the Dunedin Design Inc., who operate the Collective Design Store Guild. And on the Hoiako for the Dunedin Dream Brokerage. We might get back to that in a later. I think there's a whole extra show just in those two aspects there.
Activities.
We might come back to that. Finding inventive ways to bring art into the city's empty spaces, and then of course under your own label, Self Destruct Studio, you make and sell work that taps into your love of play, experimentation, and sometimes a little bit of chaos. And very nicely, Craig has supplied us with our little graphic through the years. So we've had a couple of changes now. And from when we were talking about, and then we moved straight to the OI podcast. And of course, we had a little refresher for the local election special.
Yep.
And we had one last year for the central government elections.
I think we had a little separate graphic for that. Just a little brush up to keep it fresh. Anyway, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to talk about all of these exhibitions. But I just thought, Craig, first up, how did you come to be where you were? What was your kind of journey through education and learning? Did you do art at school, graphics? Did you go to the Dunedin School of Art? What's your...
So I did graphics in high school by correspondence because, shout out to Milton, grew up down there.
Right.
So they didn't have that's the one. It clashed with another subject, and I think I even might have failed one of the papers in that.
No.
But, oh well. So I went on and did communication design at Polytech back in 2007. And in my first year there, one of the final electives for the year was an internship. So they selected some people to go to the museum for 3 weeks.
Oh,
and
right.
I was one of them and have never really left.
Wow.
They offered me a sort of part-time while I was still finishing my studies, and in my final year one of the designers left and they said, we'll hold the job till you graduate.
Wow,
So
they
I was
must have
like-
been really impressed.
Yeah.
And they
then
put their money on the right horse because you're still there
yeah.
producing
So-
amazing stuff.
working my way up the ranks, yeah.
Yeah, no, fantastic there.
So when you talk about design, what does that mean? Because
Yeah, and also communication design. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, so communication design is essentially communicating, so telling a story through visuals.
Right.
To boil it down. So that's everything from graphic design like posters and typography to illustration, animation, filmmaking.
the little graphics that you see on podcasts.
That too, yep.
So it's the
web
design, how you put the communication together to get it out
Essentially,
there.
yeah, all those different like little tools around sort of like thinking about spacing and how many words and just balance of things, like if it's gridded. There's lots of little technical things, and I kind of think it's something you probably can't learn. I think people just like kind of have it.
Right.
It's almost like an attention to detail.
Yeah, I'm not convinced of that. I think some of the things that you think you just have or you don't have, it comes through a kind of learning that's not formal training. So it's like repeated exposure to good design
True, yeah.
probably makes it easier for you to go, oh, that works, that doesn't work. And it's that kind of experience thing that you can't really quantify as there's a rule for, there are rules. Of course there's rules and everything, but everything bends the rules as well. And like the mark of someone who's really good at something is knowing when to bend the rules and when you can't.
Yeah.
And I think just that kind of, I don't know, I feel like there's something.
Well, I remember there was one program we didn't learn until second year at Polytech.
Like software you're talking about, yeah.
Adobe Illustrator, but I had to use it at the museum.
Right.
So by the time we got to learn about it, having that repeated exposure to it kind of made you just slip in and
Yeah.
Right. Is good design subjective, or are there key elements like, is it like one person's wine is another person's vinegar, is one person's good design another person's
I suppose.
to an extent, I think. But
I don't know. I think that if there's really bad design, you probably know it.
sometimes it's really bad, like intentionally though, so it's whether it's subverted in that way.
So you can be so bad that that's like
Yeah.
dad jokes, right? They're
Yeah.
so bad that they're
They're
funny.
funny,
Again.
yeah. I'm really good at them. Perhaps I should do design.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess there's that. Great design. Are you always going to know great design when you see it?
I think so.
And
You'd-
what are
you'd
other
like to think so.
elements? What are the elements of great design?
Well, if it's let's just narrow it down to communication design. I think the main element of being great in communication design surely is being able to communicate the thing that you're meant to communicate.
Yeah, I think it's the extended story as well. I'm a big fan of music, so I think about album covers and that sort of way is
Right.
a good judge. And Charlie XCX's Brat, which is just the green cover with the word Brat kind of blurry, the whole story
Oh,
behind
that's like
it
the
and
summer
how it's-
brat colour.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I did not realise that was a music reference. I just knew that.
Okay,
was this
now
colour.
I'm going to have to leave because I've got no idea what you're talking about.
There's this colour, and it's sort of a green colour.
I get that, right?
And it became like this brat summer. People talked about it, and to be fair, they probably talked about it in a very niche world. But because I'm a knitter, and knitting's got quite a lot of stuff about colour and new colours coming out and all that sort of stuff, I found out about this brat colour, and I was like, oh yeah, and there sort of seems to be a season colour that somehow someone
It was like
somewhere.
Barbie Pink for a
Yeah,
while.
oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
yeah.
just things come out anyway. So this
Okay.
brat colour, but I did not realise it was a music reference. So tell us about that, Craig.
But essentially, she wanted to do the album cover without a picture of her on it. She had the whole story planned for how the visual world was going to be, and
Right.
the album cover was just some blurry words saying "Brat" on a bright green.
Right. And what does brat mean?
Brat is just being
Being a brat.
brat,
Oh,
kind of,
right.
but
No,
your
that's-
authentic self.
Right, so it's just it's not like her name or something.
No, it's just the album title.
Wow, my mind went straight to bratwurst. It's like sausages are not green. I don't get that. Anyway, I just
They would not be.
I just put it in a box of that's something I don't need to know. It's called brat green. Fine, someone obviously had a reason for it.
Well, now their box has been opened and answered, so there you go.
Yeah,
Thank you, Craig.
Yes, wow.
It's like diversion there.
No, but it's all good. So good design, bad design. I guess it's all about choice of word, like not just the words, but how you present the words, if you have words, if you have pictures.
Yeah, and I guess a lot of it's collaborative too, because you don't always come up with the words. Like there's a whole, especially when it comes to exhibitions, there's a whole team of people with different inputs and different ideas. So it's sort of distilling all those things to design it and communicate it in a way that's interesting to a wide audience.
So part of communication is listening. So how do you know your audience has listened?
A lot of Facebook comments a lot of the time.
Right, okay, well.
Just in general visitor feedback as well.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a few examples we'll get to later where there's probably some
There must be a
interesting
tendency
stories.
to overthink things as well.
There can be. And sometimes, like, one of the ones I talk about, the fashion exhibition we did, that was meant to open with like 2 weeks before COVID lockdown. And we decided to not open and delay it by almost a year. But within that time, we completely redesigned the whole exhibition.
Wow.
So it was kind of having that break to take a step back.
It's quite handy,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. And, kudos for actually making, like, good things come from a bad experience all round. So, it's
Well, it
good.
was like, if nobody's going to get to see it, then why put all that
Yeah.
effort in? Let's
Yeah, absolutely. And then, and you could have just gone, okay, well, we'll just put it in a box and open it up again. But you thought, okay, now let's refresh this and with hindsight. And it's quite interesting, isn't it, with the design? Because some of the exhibitions, I imagine, and we'll get through this later on, I keep saying that, and we will get to it, I promise, folks, we will get to the actual meat of the interview. But I was just thinking that some of the exhibitions, you're designing the exhibition. And some of them, you're the graphic designer for someone else's exhibition. And that must be actually quite a different process from a design point of view. Because some of them, it's like, it's your story. You've maybe worked with your colleagues at the museum, but it's essentially, it's an in-house exhibition. And some of the things, you're essentially working as a graphic designer for other.
And sometimes not even that. Sometimes you're essentially just making it fit in the space. All the graphics and stuff come, so you don't really have control of that either.
Right.
So there's a lot of different elements to it. Kind of, it's almost like exhibition design's almost like a mix of interior design, graphic design.
Yeah. I mean, maybe talk us through just like the process that you would go through when you're doing your own design as opposed to working as a graphic designer for an outward.
Yeah, it's a very much longer process. When you develop an exhibition internally, ideally you'd have like a year and a half plus development.
Right.
So you're sort of starting with, it's like, what's the story, working with the curators, kind of getting what the essence and the big idea of the exhibition is, and then that's sort of handed over to the curators to then select the items that tell those stories from the collection that we're going to display. Then once that's come through, we work with like the content team as they develop expand on the narratives, and then we have to think about how everything's then going to translate into an experience of what's going to be first and how you sort of navigate through the space, what you have to build and design for the production team to make, and then all the sort of printed elements and wider environment as well, like large scale graphics, light boxes.
And how big or how small amount of information is going into those exhibitions as well.
And that can change, vary quite a lot as well.
Yeah. And also, I guess, the size of the space that you've got for different exhibitions, because some of them are, and we'll get onto that obviously when we do the smallest and the biggest exhibitions, but some of the spaces itself vary quite a lot, and I guess that must have a large impact on the graphic design and the...
A little bit, yeah. And a lot of the time it can affect the types of exhibitions that we can bring in as well. Sometimes there's a lot of the touring exhibitions that are like sort of real big names are like double the size of the space that we can actually hold.
Because I was really keen to have Lissy Cole and Lissy Cole Designs come in with that massive big whare nui that they crocheted and the colour.
Another metre on the ceiling.
Yeah, and they were really keen to come to Dunedin as well, and we really tried to put that together, but just the space was just physically not big enough, and that's really sad, I think, because
it would have been amazing.
It would have been amazing, yeah. card, yeah.
So are you responsible for the exit through the gift shop? You know, like every time you go to the design, or Andy Warhol, you always exit.
Working on a little
Banksy?
project with the shop at the moment as well. But yeah, I guess that is factored into sort of the experience. But obviously with our museum, because the shop's off to the side, it's a bit harder to figure out how you do that. So that's whether you do some things in the exhibition as you leave. But obviously, if you would have a second shop, then that's another staff member, and that's so there's so many things you have to like weigh up in terms of cost and
and how much.
I think that was the Banksy exhibition they did in Auckland, and it was hilarious because it was, you know, really tongue in cheek, and you literally did exit through the gift shop.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, it was very clever. Yeah.
See, I feel out of my depth today, completely out of my depth. I haven't been to enough exhibitions. Right, I'm going to move along.
We should talk about what we came to talk about.
I'm going to move along, and we're just going to tackle these in order. So your first exhibition, let's do a little bit of chronology here.
That would have been the first one I designed myself, but it was an exhibition that was touring, was Neil Volt's Neil Partington's The Vault.
Now, Neil Partington, he actually has quite a relationship with Tūhura. Did that start after?
No, so it was part of, in the book, The Vault, quite a few of the images are taken from our collection stores, from the wet store. So there was sort of, when the exhibition came about, I think it was a Christchurch Art Gallery, then we approached to then host it down here.
Right. So the Christchurch Art Gallery developed the exhibition with Neil Partington.
Yes. And then we sort of expanded on it as well. So we had in one part of the gallery all the photographs, and then in the second part of the gallery we essentially brought up from downstairs collection storage space up into the gallery. So it was like you were entering the vault in person.
Wow. See,
cool.
that's really cool, isn't it? I'm just going to get you to elaborate on wet
stores,
wet specimens, just in case the listeners out there are not
essentially
au fait with that terminology.
Anything that is stored in
alcohol,
in a jar with alcohol, but preserved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess that means that the things can have skin and feathers and stuff rather than just bones that you associate with
fetuses and
all sorts of things.
Snakes and
I think
there's a worm collection, one of our sites in Hamilton. Oh my God, it's gross.
I know Neil Partington had one of his photos was a bat in a big jar because he very nicely donated one of those massive prints to our Aihoka art exhibition that we held at the museum that Craig has pulled together on a turn of a dime.
We had a piece in there as well.
That's true. Of course you did. Oh my gosh, I can't even believe that I forgot that. Goodness me, what was your piece again?
It was like the hand symbol. It was like an illustration.
That's right. Yeah,
because
the theme was moths and flying things, and so bats fitted. And that's right. Yeah. Gosh. Saying. I think I got outbid on that piece. The bidding was crazy. It was very hard to keep up with it.
Got some good things there still on the hallway wall.
There's some fantastic things there. Okay, first exhibition, The Vault. Sounds fantastic. There's a book about it, is there? So
yes.
How would you get hold of a copy of that? It must be in a library somewhere if you wanted to look at it.
Yeah, I think it was published through Christchurch Art Gallery, so it's possibly available through their store.
It's interesting,
online.
Isn't it? The whole thing about exhibits is that they're there and then they're not there.
Yeah.
Like it's not like, I don't know, it's not like a
they're
piece
very
of,
inferior.
It's like it's like the exhibition itself is in many ways art as much as the art or the things that it's displaying, but you can't go and see that painting in another gallery. It's like the exhibition is the thing.
It's a different environment as well.
And it's there and it's gone. And even if you like you were saying with the Christchurch one, when the vault shifted from Christchurch to Dunedin, the actual exhibition changed because things were added or taken away or to fit the space, whatever. And that must happen with all exhibitions. They kind of reflect the space they're in. So it's like a once in a you've seen it or you haven't seen it.
Exactly, yeah.
Gosh, it gives me FOMO. It makes me a little bit anxious. Like you're missing out on things all the time because if you haven't seen it, you haven't seen it. What about you, Trudy?
I think you're having an existential crisis yourself. But it is an interesting concept because the exhibition in itself is an artwork. That's just, as you said, that's displaying artwork. So yeah, you could go see it somewhere else and have quite a different experience with it.
It's like a meta artwork.
I guess it's a lot of museums vary as well. Galleries, like a lot of things are just on a white wall,
right?
And presented in that
I've
way.
seen
Or
that.
in a case, whereas we like to try and change things up a bit, and there'll be some examples later where, I kind of went real crazy with that.
Although it's really annoying when you go to look at your favourite painting in the art gallery and they've moved it, and you think, where is it now?
Oh, wow.
Mind you, it's a bit like rearranging the shelves in the supermarket, but
Things do look different in
But then
different
you
places.
discover something new as well.
Well, that's true, but I kind of like to look at my favourites while I'm going to look at other things.
I see. Wow. We did an interview with Andrew Last, from a practitioner of art and sort of a teacher, because he was at the time, he's retired now, he was at the time at the Dunedin School of Art. And he talked about that white wall thing and how they kind of, there was this idea that you make a white wall and you put it on so that the environment doesn't affect the artwork itself.
yeah.
But of course, having the white wall itself is a thing.
Yeah.
And so it's really not possible to have an environment to put an artwork in where the environment doesn't have give some context to the artwork. And it's, I mean, I tend to agree with whoever came up with it. I think Andrew I don't know if he was actually saying it's true or not, but anyway, he brought my attention to this idea of white walls, and I thought that is actually an interesting concept because, white walls are not that common. But then you sort of put art pieces in front of them, and you are kind of saying something just by...
Yeah, and I guess sometimes as well, like at the moment, we've got a photography exhibition where all the walls are painted black.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of controversial, possibly.
Is it? I mean, it's obviously the opposite of white, but it's still like a monochrome,
it's not
right?
expected, I guess, in a way. But that's also a cost-saving thing because the last maybe 4 exhibitions have had black walls. So we haven't had to have the cost of having to repaint. So looking at ways where you can save money.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I think that the white paint was always a cost-saving thing because white, you don't have to tint it and it's really easy to paint over. That's why undercoats are white. I think it was like the white wall, I think they came up with that because it's a cost-saving thing.
Oh, and then they turned into some sort
and then,
of...
and they were just like, we're going to paint it all white and we're going to put the pictures.
And then we have to explain it,
Yeah, and I was just like, because you don't have to explain it because it's white. And everybody goes, it's a white wall. And then eventually white walls come on. But I don't think that, I mean, I don't know when that came into existence. But, Dutch people, when they had all those massive Dutch paintings and there was that big explosion of paintings everywhere because the Dutch were quite, I mean, at the time it wasn't Dutch, they were the lowlands and they had all that money and people...
We are talking about the 1600s people here. We're not talking about those Dutch people.
But they were hanging the paintings just in their houses, right? There's lots of people who hang paintings in their houses and the wall behind them's not necessarily white.
Pattern wallpaper?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very kind of correct me where I'm wrong here, it's a museum exhibition thing. Anyway, I'm glad to say that you're striking out and you're not doing that. Best exhibition?
There's way too many. I think I said, you always try and make the next one even better, which is kind of cheesy to say.
It is kind of cheesy to say. But then again, you're learning all the time, aren't you?
Exactly, yeah. And there's so many different aspects to, maybe if it was more just always only doing exhibitions of paintings, that might be a bit more easier to choose. But when you have such a breadth of material to work with, there's
See, that's the difference between
highlights.
you because you're at Tūhura Museum. So you've got such a wide array of things that go into exhibitions.
Well, I thought it was a very diplomatic answer because imagine having to choose the best and someone out there.
Oh, yeah, everybody else would feel. So it was probably a bit mean, wasn't it? So.
I'm sure I have a favourite, but...
See, that's...
But you're allowed to have personal favourites, aren't you?
Yeah.
Should I ask you what your personal favourite is?
Sure. I think it would have to be the Museum of Broken Relationships exhibition we had in 2019. Yeah.
That was interesting. Tell us all about that.
It started as an art project in Croatia and it kind of took off. There was an article in The Guardian about it that was published in the UK and it kind of blew up. And
Not literally, folks.
Not literally. This couple got funding and they had actually themselves broken up and they had all this stuff together that had really sentimental memories attached to it, but it was too painful to have it there with them.
Right.
So they asked their friends to pick a piece themselves from a broken relationship that they'd had and then they exhibited them all together. And then it turned into a museum in Zagreb. And in 2017, I got to go over there and I met with them and we organised bringing the exhibition to New Zealand for the first time.
Wow. So you heard about it through The Guardian?
I think a friend sent me a link and it was like, we were just like, oh my God, this is a really cool idea.
Wow. And then you just approached the place where the exhibition was and the people running the exhibition.
So
said,
they do touring exhibitions all around the world.
Wow.
And every time it goes to a new city, that they put a call out to locals to submit a piece and a story that gets then accepted into the permanent collection that goes back.
And was there pieces from Dunedin in that?
Yeah, so I think we had about maybe 30 pieces that were submitted, and they've gone on back to Croatia.
So there's now like a little piece of Dunedin.
There's a really giant chunk of dairy milk, caramel chocolate.
Wow.
Yeah.
From a broken relationship.
I think it was from the staff submitted it, I think. Yeah.
And what was the broke? Oh, because of course Cadbury's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm so dense today.
Oh, no, that's far too.
No, I was thinking like divorces and stuff.
so was I.
But it's
Yeah.
chocolate
It's
Cadbury's factory.
Yeah,
That
it's
makes
like
total sense.
personal, like,
Because people
family,
people
friendship.
really loved Cadbury's and they were like, it comes from Dunedin, it's Cadbury's factory. And it was such a big, iconic building in the centre. And now we're just like, nah, I'm not. Honestly, we haven't eaten Cadbury's chocolate since. It's a totally destroyed, broken relationship.
But I think with that exhibition as well, because it was also it was the like highest visitor per day rate over the duration that we've ever had.
So that must mean that it really struck a chord with lots of
it's that
people.
human element, because everyone can relate in some way, I think.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so that's probably my favourite.
That's quite.
It was also kind of interesting as well, because that also closed just before lockdown.
Yeah.
And I feel like it would almost be interesting to
redo it
but
now.
now with that whole new lens
Yeah.
on it, because there's a whole other aspect, I guess, that...
Good Lord, yeah. I just thinking
And
that,
I guess that whole breakup thing can be taken, like with the Cadbury's example, it can be taken in so many different ways. Like you immediately go to, cheesy Hallmark movie, divorce, whatever, breakup. But of course there's all sorts of relationships that break for all sorts of different reasons.
Yeah.
And I imagine some of those were represented there as well.
Yeah, essentially the stories throughout, it was designed like an emotional roller coaster.
Wow.
So there was some real like light-hearted things, but then there was some like brutally like horrible stories, but it was kind of
Well, that one would be exit through the bar, not the gift shop, I think.
Not that we're in any way. Okay, I'll just leave that as said. So I'm moving on to the biggest, and you can deal with the biggest and the smallest if you like at the same time.
Yeah, I think in terms of biggest, I was actually thinking back to, we did, it was 2013, exhibition called Revolution, which was 100 years of motorcycles.
Wow.
So we had about 100 motorcycles. It was in partnership.
In the museum?
In the museum. And it was before the planetarium, so that special exhibition gallery space used to open all the way around into Beautiful Science Gallery.
Right.
So it was like 800 square metres.
And it was just motorbikes?
All motorbikes.
Wow.
I love the title. I love the title, yeah.
Revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's how
REV
yeah.
made it a bit bigger.
Right. Oh, because of the revs.
Yes.
I thought you meant because the wheels go around.
the
Right.
revs,
But
yeah.
I
Rev
also,
counter.
I immediately was thinking revolution because so many, I don't know, Che Guevara I think of as intrinsically motorbike. I don't even know if that's true, that he was on a motorbike, but I assume that he was driving around.
I think you did. Yeah, around Central America.
Central South America there.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's where I thought you got it from, but clearly not. It was all just a play on words with revs.
Oh, that's very clever. Did you come up with that title?
No, I
Say
think
yes.
there was a little project team that threw a lot of ideas around.
Where did you get all the motorbikes from?
We partnered with McIver and Veach.
I was going to say, yeah.
And
With
a couple
what, sorry?
McIver and Veach.
The local motorcycle dealership.
Oh, right.
And then a few other contacts that we
So you had
managed to
old
find some.
motorbikes and new motorbikes?
Yeah, also from the early 1900s.
Early 1900s, yeah.
So brand
We
new.
actually had an episode, as part of our sort of transport series, mini-series, we had an episode with Peter from Toitu.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the early motorbikes. Because the early motorbikes, were that early couple of years in the 1900s. And, they were just, I imagine that was amazing fun, driving around the no fences, no roads, just dirt tracks everywhere.
No suspension. You know.
Anyway, wow, sounds cool. Yeah,
But
no,
yeah.
but
That's
again,
cool.
now I've got FOMO because I want to see that exhibition, but it no longer exists.
We do have photos of it, so I can show you sometime.
Photos. Yeah, I'll just get photos. Smallest exhibition.
I think the small that would be. We did one for ID Fashion Week a few years back.
Right.
In 2016. But it was called Time Warp, and we wanted to do an intervention in an unconventional space.
An intervention.
Yeah. So
I only know intervention in sort of
Yes. Breakup relationships
time.
putting something into a space that you wouldn't normally expect it.
Right.
So we chose the locker room that there used to be at the museum, and we took some of the doors off the cabinets, and we built a little sort of display out. So it was this little tiny room, and just had all these sort of things from the 70s, and we had this psychedelic pattern that kind
So
of
people would still go into the
they
lockers.
could go into the locker room, yeah, but not use the actual lockers. We had it barried off so you couldn't touch the things.
All right. What sort of size are we talking about?
Like no longer than this table.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the things were in the
Yeah,
little
so it's probably,
lockers.
the footprint was probably about the table.
Oh, two
2
by
meters.
2 by 1,
Yeah.
2 by 1.5. Very small. Crazy. Yeah, but I mean, it's great to think of those. Like, you know, you can probably, if you put them in little boxes, pack in a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, well, I guess
I was totally expecting you to say, which is obviously bigger, the little boxes that go up the
the stairwell.
stairwells. Because I mean, I guess you take all of the boxes as the
whole thing,
as the
yeah.
whole thing as the exhibition, rather than just one
Yeah.
little box. How many boxes are in that series?
there are 14.
14 boxes. And what I really like about that is that you see it. Like, you don't go there to see it, you just see it as you go up the stairs. And quite often I feel like I'm a real traffic jam because I get overly absorbed in reading the little information, but Trudy's putting her hand on her head, her head on her head there. I get overly absorbed in reading all the little bits, and then I sort of go up slow up those stairs. It does my...
Well, I'm the complete opposite. I'm going to have to go and have a look now because I think they're just things on the wall. I didn't realise it's actually
they're
an
really
exhibition.
fun. So they had one really great one, which I think that the podcast, the playlist is their style,
Oh, yes.
the glam rocks one, and it was absolutely fabulous. It was when Emma Burns was the natural history curator there, and I imagine her and the team went through the rock collection of the museum and got really cool rocks, like ones that were just like glittery
Glam
or
rocks.
gold or glamour, in some way. And so each of the little boxes up the stairs had a different, or maybe sometimes they had one or two, but it had a playlist with it, which was also
Yeah, each one had a song.
glam rock, and each rock had its own perfectly chosen song on this playlist. So you could just put the playlist on your headphones as you were going up the stairs and listen to the...
I'm starting to see how the museum works now. I think I've fallen into their mindset. Glam rocks, revolutions.
It was just
Oh, wait
so.
for the next
It was
one.
just
I was
so
gonna-
clever.
more.
And there was a really good one as well. So just putting on my environmental hat. There was a really good one on fish. So you had, I think they were extinct. Was it all fish or was it extinct fish? I know that you had a grayling there, which is very
Yeah.
unusual. And I remember there was quite a lot of discussion
Was it just
about
freshwater fish?
maybe it was freshwater. Yeah, it was just. It wasn't marine fish. It was just freshwater fish. And I can't remember if it was all. Maybe it was all of them. But it was just like this. They're amazing because the fish were in the natural history. But of course, they're not really fish. They're casts of fish because the fish, like, it's really hard to get a preserved fish, right?
Unless it's in the wet store.
Yes.
Yeah, unless it's in the wet store, right? So you get fossil remains, you get bones, but it's really hard to think of that as a fish. But these were really cool because someone at some point had made a perfect cast of the fish, and there were lots of different species going. They kind of put them in each of these little boxes was like looking in an aquarium, but in a natural habitat, and they'd kind of made the surrounds of the box look like the environment,
right.
so you could see that it was in like fine gravel or bouldery gravel or whatever.
Plant.
Yeah,
stuff.
it just looked.
Yeah.
It was just amazing, and it was just like each one was like a little snapshot into the environment of this fish, and obviously the fish, they're all like matched to the actual fish when they make the cast, and they do this amazing painting job on them, and they're like a really odd thing that you only come across, I think, in museums.
Yeah.
It's quite crazy. Anyway, those are just two that, I mean, there's...
I was going to shout out to, we opened one just 2 weeks ago. So it's
Oh,
a brand new one.
Go. Tell us all about it.
It's called A Peep Show of Birds.
A peep show. But see, it's all about the puns, folks. It's all
So,
about the puns.
To give some context here, back one of the original curators of the museum, Hutton, was exchanging items with a museum in London, and part of his written letter was that he didn't want just birds back. He didn't want the museum to become a peep show of birds. So we took
right.
that quote and thought, this is kind of funny, just to have a play on words, and we've chosen all of the birds that have a kind of funny, sort of like nudge, nudge, wink, wink name,
Oh, right.
but actually explaining where that name has actually come from.
Right.
So you might think it might sound a little bit like rude, but it's actually
Honestly, when I first got to the UK, when I was doing my postdoc there were garden birds all around our house. And I was sure that this one had come into our garden. I was sure that it looked like a lot of others, but I'd never seen this one. It had a big long tail. And of course it was a long-tailed tit. But if you ever put tits into it's not safe for work. And I was just like, I was so focused on the birds. I was just like, yeah, I want to see what it's and I just was like, I want to bring up all the tits so I can see all the different species of tits. And then
hello,
I'll be able
Barbara,
to
this is HR.
Oh my
not.
goodness.
We've
Yes.
got some tomtits in the display, and obviously the word tomtit comes from the word titmouse, which just means essentially very small.
Small.
Right,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, nitty bitty titty mouse.
Half the time they stop at itty bitty.
But all the information for the exhibition is also available on our website. So if you can't access this too well, because it's obviously quite an annoying space to work
That's
with.
true, yeah.
Especially when
all the
someone-
information
And of course, all the accessibility exit and entrance, I guess. There is really great accessibility entrance. I just gave a shout out to the Otago Museum there, Tūhura, because you have really great accessibility entrance systems there with that amazing lift, which
So we've
right in the
you
inside
can
there,
just
but
scan the QR code and you can just access all the information and get real up close imagery. And
because I guess that is the one exhibit that's really difficult.
yeah, it's the one that's there
Yeah.
that we
But
didn't.
but you have got a QR code, and it's
Yep.
really nice that you're using that space just for
Yeah.
and it's a rotating thing that generally is stuff from within the museum.
Yeah, just little things that might not normally
Fit into
everywhere
a
else.
big-
It's just
something
meant to
else.
be like
Yeah.
your story. Yeah.
So how often do you rotate them?
Now would maybe every like 18 months.
Right, okay.
Just
All right, so I don't need to rush.
Yeah, but on the flip side, so those are quite quick turnaround ones. But then on the flip side, you've got some exhibitions in the museum which literally have been there for decades.
Yes. So the
Yeah,
permanent.
don't move those.
I mean, it's quite a funny thing, though, isn't it? Because you've got this crazy difference in timescales. You've got these really long-lived exhibitions, which I suppose they still need some.
There's like small changes happen, but I guess there's like a long-term plan, and to do a whole gallery, there's quite a lot of cost involved.
Right.
So there's
So your big galleries are the Southern Land, Southern People,
people of the world,
people of the world.
nature, tangata whenua, Pacific cultures, and animal attic and maritime.
Wow. I mean, that's quite a few big ones. And I guess the science.
Oh, and then the Tūhura Science Centre,
Yeah.
and Tropical Forest.
And the tropical. I mean,
And
the
the Beautiful
tropical.
Science Gallery.
Yeah. I mean, the beautiful science gallery that
Okay,
changes
it'll
all
be
the time,
easy
right?
to list the ones that change all the time.
Well,
Pretty.
yeah, maybe. But I mean, the tropical garden's never going to change, right? It's there or it's not there. Like the only possible change. I mean, you're not going to change where it is, right?
No,
It's there.
it's there.
Beautiful gallery changes all the time, though.
But yeah, with the longer term ones, we do try and do little things that to change things over. We just put the Martin Phillips display that was on the atrium.
Right.
That's moved into it.
So that's the chills, isn't it?
Yes, so that's Heavenly Pop Hits. So that was following his passing. The family donated the leather jacket, Fender.
Is that the leather jacket from I Love My Leather Jacket? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, isn't that amazing to have the leather jacket?
Yeah, we've recreated the Heavenly Pop Hits cover for the second time on the Atrium one, and they also donated the jersey from the Pink Frost video.
Oh,
So we've had that on display.
So that's really two massive, big, iconic.
Yeah.
so you do know music.
No, I don't. I just know that exhibition. No, Martin Phillips came and gave an OI talk back when we were doing the What's it was about the Nobel Prizes, and every year we'd get like people in who kind of knew something about the topic that had won the Nobel Prize. And that year, one of the Nobel Prize was for something to do with hepatitis C. And Martin Phillips very kindly came in and talked about hepatitis C from the point of someone having lived with it for some time. So, and I got to know him I met him through that, and I thought, what a nice guy.
Cool.
Anyway, sad that he's passed, but has left.
Happens to us all.
It does, and he has left, an amazing legacy there, both in the music and obviously you can go and see it. So that's on exhibition, is it?
We've moved we had it in the atrium just as a, here it is, like let's, but its long-term home is in the People of the World Gallery.
Right.
So we've just moved it up into there.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Wow. So moving along to the most difficult exhibition.
I think that would have to be logistically the James Cameron exhibition we had, Challenging the Deep. Having to lift a replica model of the Titanic that weighs about a ton.
Wow.
Was logistically hard.
And I didn't see that one.
Oh, didn't
Was
you?
it the whole? No, I didn't.
No, it was like a portion of it, but it was
portion of it.
Part of that was from the Australian
movie.
National Maritime Museum, the exhibition, and it was a large digital display. There was large scale projections, but part of it was telling the story of Titanic in the movie.
Right.
And how the movies that James Cameron makes then help fund his deep sea research.
Right.
Yeah. But just,
He seems like such a perfectionist, because I did hear that when he did I don't know if it was a re-release or a director's cut or whatever, but someone had pointed out to him that the night sky on the night that the Titanic sunk would not have been the same as what the night sky was in the movie. So he went back with a whole lot of star people and figured out what the sky in that location on that night would have been, and then they changed the film sky backgrounds to make it accurate. I'm just like,
it's a movie. Like,
it's
one
a movie,
person
but,
would notice.
in a way it's quite endearing, but in a way it makes me think working with him might be quite a nightmare. But it is kind of endearing because there's some things that you think, if you can.
Then you think, how on earth do they run into an iceberg? Come on.
Well, it does annoy me a little bit when you see movies and they have a starry night and it's just like regular pinpoints of stars. Like there's no clusters or faded bits, and they're obviously too bright. So I'm going back to this Hallmark once again. But anyway, James Cameron does not suffer from that. All right, so that was, it's funny, isn't it? So the Titanic one was really the biggest,
but not because
challenging.
of the process. It was more just the installation.
The installation was just.
We had some people over from Australia to help as well because.
I guess it was their exhibition. They don't want you breaking it.
And it had dealt with technology that we hadn't really used before. You had 4 gigantic projection screens that were all synced together. So you had to run this cabling and...
Wow, that does sound quite...
It was, quite a mission. But we got there.
Wow. And did they have things from the Titanic, like artefacts?
Yes. There were some replicas from the movie.
Right.
But I don't think there was anything from the actual Titanic itself.
They must have floated to the surface. Because how would you get them?
Well, didn't they get some of them back? Because they've sent down little cameras and they've looked and there's like whole dessert sets and dinner plates and bits that
Not in the exhibition though.
No, okay. I'm just talking. Honestly, I obviously should just be quiet and move on to the next thing. The cheapest or the most expensive, or both?
Ooh.
I guess the ones that you do from within the museum themselves are quite inexpensive in a way because you've already got the things. You're not dealing with transporting them, and
I guess there's a whole bunch of wider costs when you think about it. So you also have to market the exhibition, programs and events, activities that go alongside.
And of course,
to support
staff
it.
time. So
staff time.
When you're developing,
but you do that anyway with one coming in, wouldn't you?
Well, I guess, but
the difference is, I guess, the ones coming in usually they'll have an exhibition fee.
Oh, okay.
So that also determines what we can and can't get because you have to do a lot of calculations to figure out. You need to break even at least.
Right.
So I guess the business of touring exhibitions is to make the exhibition touring person money.
Right.
So that's why some shows have to be ticketed just to make it balance out for us.
Yeah, no, it's quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, the ones that you develop within the museum, there must be a lot of staff time that's incorporated into that,
Yeah.
which, that's not free.
No.
You're still paying the staff to do it, and there's a certain amount that you're doing through the curation business as
collection
usual
management,
type
conservation
thing. But then there's obviously bringing those, deciding which pieces, and then you'll probably want new photos, new display, bigger things
New
written
mounts
out,
for
new
to
mounts,
support them and,
everything going out. So I imagine that, it seems like they would be cheaper, but actually sometimes they could be. I mean, depending on what they are, I don't know. They're not as cheap as one might. There's
No,
hidden costs that are not
definitely.
necessarily straight up there, whereas the ones that come from somewhere else, you still have to, I imagine, your time and your team's time and
Yeah.
production people putting that together and putting it in the space. But
It varies a lot, and it depends.
What kind of a ballpark figure is an exhibition? Something like that James Cameron one.
Expensive.
Yeah, I would have no idea how much an exhibition would cost.
No.
It really does depend. Some touring ones will be, and it depends on the duration as well.
Just
So a
thinking
lot of,
that,
say sometimes it would be a fee for only 3 months, but
right.
we try and have things for 5 to 6 months just to, because it's more turnover and staff time
Yeah.
Right.
in the development. So,
And I guess it's that kind of payback of how long it takes you to put it up and take it down.
yeah, but also then how many visitors are you going to get through within that time frame?
And do you have much busier times of the year? I mean, Christmas, New Year, I imagine.
School
Yeah,
holidays.
school holidays. Yeah, and a lot of our time is more pre-school holidays, but it depends on what else
Preschool
is going on.
holidays?
Oh, before the school holidays.
Oh, because you're setting it
we're
up.
setting it
Oh,
up,
yeah.
Then
Sorry,
the school
I was
holidays,
meaning
it's-
busy. Yeah,
You're talking about preschool.
No, I was thinking about busy as in terms of people coming in and out of the museum busy, as opposed to your personal. Although
yeah,
I'm sure that
definitely
your
over
personal
summer
time
and then
fluctuates.
winter as well. Those a rainy day,
Right,
great,
rainy days, yeah.
great in Dunedin.
That makes sense, eh? You got the kids for the school holidays, you got them over the summer, rainy weekend in the winter. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
same things, right?
I was to say that's the day not to go to the museum. Go on a sunny day because then you'll have
Have it
lots
all
of
to
space
yourself.
to yourself. Yeah.
I had a visitor from France come over, academic visitor, and he's an ecologist. I was like, I had all this whole list of, do you want to go up Swampy and see tussock grasslands? Do you want to go up Cargill? Do you want to go out to Tarawa Head and see the albatross? And he's like, no, I want to go to the museum. And he was just like, I'm tired of walking around places. Beautiful sunny day, but he was like, and I checked back with him. He's like, totally content with my decision. I will see you in 2 hours' time. And he was already 2 hours into it, just spent the whole day. And I got back to him, and he had been very selective about which galleries he'd gone to. He had not tried in any way, shape or means to see the entirety of the museum. He just wanted to go very slowly through the exhibits that he wanted. It was in Southern Land, Southern People, and I think the Pacific Peoples. Maybe I can't remember if it was Pacific Peoples or Tangata Whenua, actually. But yeah, it was just I spent the whole day there. Don't try and pigeonhole those French ecologists into wanting to go and walk up mountains.
Could
Anyway.
just be because they're French, but yeah. Right, moving on.
The one you enjoyed the most?
I think that would be the very first Martin Phillips exhibition we did, Things Change. That was back in 2018, and it was coincided with the production of the documentary, The Triumph and Tragedy of Martin of the Chills, which is also screening at Tūhura in a couple of weeks.
Oh, wow,
Shout
up
out.
in the planetarium there.
In the Barclay Theatre, I believe.
Oh, in the Barclay Theatre. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But that was probably the first exhibition I got to make where I didn't really have to answer to anyone. I just kind of had the wee project. It was in the
Oh,
annex.
that's quite nice,
And I
isn't
kind
it?
of just got let loose. So I came up with this concept and shared it with Martin, and he thought it was great. And then, I kind of just made it happen. And it was,
And is that the one you won the big award for?
so that got me to a trip to the States to go to Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Chicago.
We got bronze at the International Design Communication Awards.
Oh,
Which is pretty,
amazing.
that's pretty cool.
Crikey.
Yeah. See, bashful. It's a good job I knew that. See,
But yeah, it was
there
sort
for the
of,
research, Barbara.
just
Dr. Barb.
creating the story of it and having, it was almost like the first case was melting, and it kind of was like the trajectory of the chills out was the highs and lows, and then kind of freezing. The end had all these icicles that I handmade with mylar and hot glue and burnt my hands a lot to make these light sculptures, and it was like freezing that moment in time of where they were sort of like back, with the new album and all that sort of thing. So it was just a very cool exhibition to make, and we got to collaborate with Polytech design students as well.
Right.
So who were doing the same course that I went through.
Wow.
So they designed a little installation for us as well. So
Oh, that's pretty cool, eh?
Yeah.
And I guess being able to like directly interact with the person that you're doing the exhibition on, or the people that you're doing the exhibition on.
A side note to that as well, because Martin performed at the opening of Ian's stairwell display, the director's choice, and from that he asked me to help him with the vision for the Springboard LP. So he had the whole idea of what he wanted, but I photographed it all and designed it, so it was a vinyl album that I got to design and make and see all the flesh, which
It's
is
pretty cool, eh?
very cool. But
I
it's
think
very bittersweet, and
Yeah, that's true, I suppose. Yeah, and I guess the current director Ian is very keen on the Chills.
Yes.
As a group, so that can't but help, can it? I don't know. I mean, maybe if you decided to do this whole exhibition on AC/DC, it might not have been quite as easy to do. I don't. Actually, going to go down that.
Let's see if I.
Let's give it a
do
go.
a Brat exhibition.
Yeah.
The one that got away.
I want to say that hasn't been one that got away per se. It just
Is that because you're holding out that
hasn't
it's going to happen
yet.
still?
I do have one idea, but I won't share it.
Right,
today.
okay, no,
But
that's
yeah,
fair
there's something that's been cooking for a while that is just waiting for the right time.
Right. Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Some long thought out ones. And do you take kind of suggestions from the public for exhibitions? How would one go about giving you a suggestion?
Just flick the museum an email from,
I would really like to see, and I'm going to ask Trudy in a second, I'm just going to give her a second to think about it. I would really like to see an exhibition on death.
That's my secret idea.
Oh, damn! Sorry there, folks.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, anyway, I'd really like to see that one. I think it'd be fantastic.
Well, we've got
like
quite
how
there's quite a
society
lot.
deals with death
and mourning,
and mourning and grief and all
It's
of
kind
those
of
things.
it's similar vibes to the Museum of Broken Relationships in a way. Like
Yeah.
it's something that everyone has to deal with, but putting that in a interesting way to communicate with and share with people.
Yeah, and the sort of cultural aspect of it as
Yeah,
well, and
absolutely.
it's kind of has connotations with conservation and environment and extinction and like death of a species, death of an ecosystem, the end of families, the end of culture, that whole kind of, I don't know, I think it could be fantastic.
This episode might go out for mental health warning, if you're feeling a wee bit on the edge
Well,
existentially, you might need to have a glass of wine while you're listening.
I can sort of see that, but I also sort of think that because we don't talk about it, it actually is harder on people.
Well, I think we don't see it. Like when we lived in much smaller communities, you'd see the butcher slaughtering whatever your meal. You'd see, you would nurse people die in your home, women would die in childbirth.
150 years ago, people mostly died at home.
Yeah.
But nowadays, people mostly don't die at home. They die either in hospital or a hospice.
But there was so much more kind of death in a way, because you didn't live as long.
Yeah,
and we didn't have
earlier.
antibiotics and we didn't have vaccines and all this kind of stuff. So we kind of become a bit immune to death.
Also,
This is more the afterwards as well as what happens. What do you do? Like especially with different cultures and that sort of thing as well. It's like how it's always celebrating life as well. Like,
Yeah.
I remember
And
there
this-
was a thing on the telly one night when the news reporter was saying she was most disgusted they just wrapped them in a white sheet. I'm yelling at the telly, it's a shroud, you stupid. It's a shroud.
But I mean, it's a relevant point because there's a lot of new ways of, there used to be burial and cremation, but now there's a lot of new ways, and there's like how the coffin's made. I've seen some that are made of wool, some that are regeneration type ones.
That's the one place that was you could get your ashes pressed into vinyl, into a record.
Oh, wow, because there's those ones where you can get your ashes
No, you
turned
do
into
that to your enemy because then they just spin round and round for all eternity.
There's
I
ones
like that
where you
idea.
can get your turned into a diamond, like for a ring, or you can get them shot into space.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it all seems a bit of a funny. I don't know. I'd have to think about what I want done still. Anyway, we are out of time. Oh my goodness, I can't believe that's what we're ending on. We're out of time.
Oh, out of time, Des.
Yes. Well, did you have a suggestion there?
That's right. We're out of time.
You've been
Trek.
listening to the OI podcast. Thank you very much, Craig Scott, for coming along from Tūhura Otago Museum. And of course, events and exhibitions are all on your amazing website, and there's a wealth of information there. Most of the museum is, as always, free, and there are a few of those exhibitions which have a small charge to go with them.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much. Podcast, the shout out for the arts, sciences and mataranga Māori.
You can support this podcast by becoming a member of the OI. Check out the Otago Institute for Arts and Sciences on Facebook or our website.
If you'd like to listen again to this episode or others from the series, look for the OI podcast on OAR FM's website, oar.org.nz.
Brought to you by the Otago Institute for Arts and Sciences, the Otago branch of the Royal Society of New Zealand.
This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On the Air.